Anonymous here, and we're looking at fears inventory by the book. You know, it's funny, when I did my initial fourth step inventory, I don't know whose sheets we used, or I was exposed to some sheets. And what was interesting is the same format was suggested for resentments as for fears. You go through the same columns pretty much. And that was fine. I did it, and I encountered God a little bit later after the fourth step. Actually, God turned up for me between step 6 and 7. So, you know, it worked. But for me, years later, the question I'm left with is, you know, why didn't we do the inventory as suggested by the big book? Because the big book makes it very clear that the fears inventory works as a completely separate process of steps than the resentments inventory. So when you look at that inventory process for fears by the book, it's just a different process. And I do find that this process, being different, is worth looking at. And I use what the book suggests these days whenever I inventory fear. So we're going to look at the fears inventory today by the book. And as you can see here, it says the purpose of this inventory is to reflect precisely the 5 actions that make up a big book suggested inventory. And I want to be really clear. I'm not trying to tell anyone what to do with this video, but it's just, this is what the big book suggests as far as I can take myself or any subjectivity out of it. What are we left with? So the first suggestion from the big book is, who or what are you feeling? And often I think it's the what rather than the who when it comes to fears. I'm going through some stuff at the moment. And so I've got oh, sorry. Click on the box. Yeah. Fear of failure. Some music stuff. Look, I probably would write this a bit differently if I was doing it on my own, just to show to my sponsor. But given this is a video, I'm trying to keep it nice and generic. So failure, music stuff. You know, read into that what you will. I know what it means to me. And ask yourself why I have this fear. So this is a simple sentence in the big book, and it asks us very quickly to go from step 2 to step 3. It's almost asking step 2 as a rhetorical question to set up the major work, which is at the reflect stage, step 3. But I think it's good to just stop here momentarily and see it as a second step because it's written as such. I do think being brief and avoiding overthinking or self-therapizing. Remember, all inventory is fact-finding, fact-facing. So why would I go down the subjective self-analysis road when in fact all I'm doing is fact face, fact find. Anyway, so let's do a bit of fact finding here. Be brief. Why do I have this fear? Well, it's because I have stuff out with people and they, oh my God, I'm yelling. I didn't realise that I'd inadvertently hit higher case. Anyway, caps lock, I mean. I have stuff out with people and they haven't gotten back to me. Tell you, I've got a fear of typing in front of people. It's another bit of inventory. Yeah, they haven't gotten back to me. Now, I'm in a holding pattern, therefore, and that makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, we get to the big stuff. The big stage. The big book provides us with its own reasoning for self-centered fear. This is what we need to reflect on. Reflect on your selected fear through this lens. And here we go, straight from the big book. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us had great self-confidence, but it didn't fully solve, oh my goodness me, the fear problem or any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. So there you are. We are given the character defect to reflect on all fears through self-reliance. Now, in resentments inventory, we have to learn what character defects are. But now we do know what character defects are. In the second inventory, we go straight to the one that the book suggests is the sole wellspring of all fear. Where have I been relying too much on self and not others? And now I get to reflect on this because it's a question. Wasn't it because of self? wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? So it's like, well, yes, it is. And of course, as soon as we go, yes, it is, well, why? And so, for me, the only way to respond to this literally is to think about it and write down any reflections, things that come to mind, fact find, fact face. And, I've learned enough from the previous resentments inventory to look at my side of the fence, haven't I? So let's have a think about that. Why am I fearful about people not getting back to me? Well, it's because I'm not in charge of when they frickin' do. I want to control the narrative. Okay, now a little bit of self-analysis and therapizing is coming in, but I'm trying to cut to the chase. And again, I know that's what I'm thinking and feeling when I am fearful. I know the loop that's playing in my head. I'm just capturing that loop and I move straight on. And this is coming from the resentments inventory again. Try and keep it 20 words or less. This is what I need to keep telling myself. There's a brevity to inventory. All I'm doing is capturing that loop, move straight on. Then the big book continues. Consider that the big book suggests a better way. So here in the second inventory, the fear inventory, the big book then suggests a better way. Now, it didn't do that with the resentment inventory. So let's read what that better way is. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so. Who are the we? The founding members of AA who solved their drinking problem. Powerful evidence, to be sure. For we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. I don't know if you can hear those sirens in the background. I live in the country. Hopefully there's not a fire nearby. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. Oh, okay. So just taking that much in. So the answer is give up trusting me because I have no control. Trust God instead. God is infinite and I'm finite. Sounding a bit like the serenity prayer. I need serenity to accept what I can't change, what I can't control. And I always see in the serenity prayer, by the way, that, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Well, I think change and control are almost interchangeable at the end of that sentence. But anyway, it continues. We are in the world to play the role he assigns. Big reminder of my step 3 commitment. That's what the step 3 prayer signed me up for spiritually. I was giving myself, my will to God and asking God from that moment forth, what can I do for you and others? I need to play the part you assign. Just to the extent that we do as we think he would have us, they would have us, and humbly rely on him, does he enable us to match calamity with serenity. So now we're getting new information about that payoff, that huge spiritual payoff for allowing God to drive our thoughts and actions, asking God for guidance. Again, God, what would you have me do for you today and for others today? Step 3 prayer, which reiterates down the line in different ways in further steps. Well, now we're seeing why. Okay, if I do this, step 4 is telling me that I can match calamity with serenity. And there's a connection to the serenity prayer again. So now we're being drip fed the value of the entire thing that we're doing. If I trust God, God is finite, the infinite, move away from the finite me, fear will go. And I'll be stuck with this situation of waiting for the phone to ring, for the email to come from the music people to tell me if I've got the red light or the green light. Trust God, let it go. Clear your head, move on. So my reflections are just that. Okay, fair enough. Trust the process. I can't change their thinking. I can't change their thinking. Can't control what they like, dislike, etc. Market too. Move on, idiot. Go help someone. Go help someone. Oh, yeah. I mean, and isn't it funny? Like, if I ring my sponsor, probably my sponsor would say, yeah, go help someone. Pray. And we end with a prayer. This is straight from the big book. We ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us do. God, what would you have me do? Go help someone. Go to a meeting, whatever. And, this is how it works. What a beautiful process. What a great way to turn fear into an absolute reminder of the entire show. Anyway, that's what the big book is suggesting as far as I'm concerned for a fears inventory. It looks very different than a resentments inventory. So good luck with that. And maybe you can join me for the next video on sex conduct inventory. Da-da-da-dum. Cheers.